But yes, we are indeed here at the Grove/Farmers Market in LA. This is the spot where you normally see TMZ cameras running around stalking people. And my goal, Maureen, is that they find us today, and they specifically find you because they would be hitting the jackpot. Because I'm sitting here with Maureen Flannigan from the uber 80s iconic sitcom Out of This World, Maureen.
That's right. And
how's that for an intro?
For all you French people, Le One de ce monde.
It's very big in France, isn't it?
Very big.
There's a DVD release overseas somewhere, and it's $119 on eBay, I saw this morning.
It's in Germany, I believe.
Oh.
And if I was really cool, I'd be like, I don't even know how to speak German. But that's what
Thank you, kind sir. Thank you for the coffee.
Thank you.
All right.
It's German. Everything's big in, like, all that stuff is big.
Everything's big
the
in Germany.
Hasselhoff's big in Germany.
We always go to Hasselhoff.
I'm big in Germany.
Are you?
Yeah.
Have you gone there?
Yes, I have.
And what happens to you?
Well, not anymore, but when I go there, I see friends I haven't seen forever from America.
Oh.
It's like the Bermuda Triangle.
Actual friends or friends like fan friends?
Fan friends and actual friends.
And so they all recognize you as Evie.
Yes. Yeah.
The girl with the magical powers.
Yeah, now it's like, it's either Seventh Heaven or Evie.
Okay.
And depending, I gauge when I see someone, they're like, gosh, she looks so familiar. Did we go to school together? And, I'm pretty sure we didn't.
Here in Germany?
I went to Catholic school.
Right. Well, let's start at the beginning of the career, Highway to Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about, how much did Michael Landon cry when you were on set of Highway to Heaven? Because when I think of him, I think of nothing but tears in his eyes.
He was a hero of mine because I loved Little House on the Prairie. I freaked out over Little House on the Prairie.
It's the only hour-long drama I could watch as a child.
Oh, wow.
Because
you were
super conservative.
I see.
But that was the one approved show.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I went in to audition for that, and I had been on several commercials previous.
Yeah.
But this was going to be my first talking gig, and he had that golden mane of hair, that kind of dark brown.
Yes, yes.
And he's a handsome guy.
He's a very handsome guy.
What I didn't realize is he had a lot of energy.
Oh,
but
really?
as Michael what was his name on Little House on the Prairie? It was
Pa Ingalls.
Pa Ingalls. That's
right.
Pa was kind of sedate.
Okay, right.
He wasn't jumping around doing like a Jiminy Cricket dance.
When you think of Michael Landon, he seems very mellow and tearful.
So
So it was weird that he had all this energy.
So I walked in, and it was him and the casting director, and he's got a cigarette. He was a chain smoker, and jumping around like Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was just so excited by my performance of the 5 words
It could have been the best thing he'd seen since Melissa Gilbert.
But I fell in love even deeper.
So you were just a little girl,
but
you had a Pa Ingalls crush.
Yeah, it was like I wanted Linda Carter to be my mom,
right,
and Pa Ingalls to be my dad.
Think of all the spinning that would be involved. I didn't mean that to be as dirty as it was, but you knew what I meant.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of truth telling.
A lot of spinning. So great. So then you hit the jackpot. Now the 80s. Let's paint the picture for. If it's even possible to be younger than us, I can't imagine that there is anybody out there younger than you and I. We are the same age. If it's even possible for there to be a more youthful audience listening to us, they need to understand that in the 80s, sitcoms were made for syndication left and right, which is really not a thing now. But there we had, Charles in Charge. You had It's a Living.
Was that
Small
syndicated?
Wonder.
I believe it had a network run.
A lot of them did. Charles in Charge had a year on a network too, and then a lot of them would go off network. And then they would get canceled by the network. Baywatch had a season of a network, and then went to syndication.
She's a Sheriff.
She's the Sheriff was huge. Oh, great reference.
What a Dummy, Stephen Dorff.
Oh, I don't know What a Dummy.
What a Dummy. People check it out.
No. But you landed on this show that would usually, in my market, was always the weekends. I know exactly when it was on because I'll tell you later how you got me in trouble, and I think you owe me an apology, frankly, about getting busted watching Out of This World. We'll save that.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, completely one of the most scandalous things.
I don't remember a lot from that time, to be quite frank, Dan.
Well, this will be a great interview. Because I have 98 questions about it.
People come up to me all the time like, remember that episode with the... And I'm like, nope, I have no idea.
And then I can understand, because if you put it in perspective...
Let me put it in perspective.
Yeah, why don't you?
I was a full-time student...
During that time?
During high school.
Right.
And I was working 40 hours a week.
Right.
30 to 40 hours a week on the show.
Right.
So I'd come in for school for 2 hours, then we'd go to set, then we'd have lunch. I'd try to work in a nap during my 1 hour lunch. And so I'd have a half an hour lunch. And then go to school maybe for an hour, work, and then go back to school to try to bank time for our shoot days.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I'd go home and have to study the script, study for my finals or my tests or homework, do my homework and do papers. And
so you remember your school life just as much as your... I think what it is that, like, none of us remember our day-to-day existence from our teen years, so why would you remember every detail of those years? Because it's what you did as a kid.
But
it's
very
sticks with you.
Extraordinary.
Right. Even though you were playing an extraordinary girl.
I was a half-alien teenager on my 13th birthday.
Okay.
I didn't know... I think up until that moment, I just thought my father was just... took off. Like, I just never knew my dad existed. And this wonderful 13th birthday, I developed the power to freeze time.
Right.
And in a box, a present from my father, was a cube that I could communicate with.
We all remember the cube with the voice of Burt Reynolds.
Wait a minute! It's my gift. It just went a little wrong, that's all. Hey, where are you?
My God, Dan, you have done your homework.
I do remember, and what's so bizarre to me is, like, how did they make that happen? Burt Reynolds is doing the voice?
I think our producer had something on Burt and he owed him something.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other way. I just really can't.
Because it was like, he was still making movies then, and it was like one of those things, but he was the voice.
I think they were still okay then.
I think they were still okay. He might have moved to Jupiter, Florida, but he still was probably making, like, One and a Half Cop or whatever those types of movies that he did. Did you date any gay guys? Did you go out with, like, Neil Patrick Harris or Chad Allen or...
No, I didn't date Chad Allen. Neil and I considered, I don't know what Neil's side of the story is, but Neil and I were like best of friends for a few months.
Okay.
And my stepfather was the DP on Doogie Howser.
Okay, so that's how it came about?
Yeah. And
but
I
how
just
did you still,
adored him.
Your stepfather was a DP, but how did you...
Neil found out that I was his stepdaughter, and he wanted to be my friend.
Okay, so he approached you.
He approached me.
Nice.
So being a girl, I just assumed he approached me in that way.
Right.
At, I don't know, 17, 16, I don't know how old
and
we
maybe
were.
then he kind of did. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
maybe.
So would
but
you...
I had a crush on him.
Right.
We did everything together. I mean, and he loved musical theater. So did I.
Right.
Perfect guy for me. I didn't know anything about that, like that there was gay or straight. I didn't know that really.
Right.
Then.
You just had some very colorful hairstylist and things like that. But who knows what they do at night? You're a kid.
I think adults were gay, right? Kids weren't gay.
That's true. Well, I'm from the Midwest. We didn't really even know adults that were gay. I knew that but I didn't even define it for myself. It was just like a...
You just knew you were different.
I really hope Scott Baio takes his shirt off kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But that would be the extent. It wouldn't be like the next level where it'd be like... were they
maybe
dates?
6 months. I don't know if they were... I invited him to the Sadie Hawkins dance at my school. And, I had planned, like, to we were going to kiss at the end of this.
Yeah.
And it turned out horribly wrong.
Okay.
Like...
You discussed kissing?
No. I went for the kiss because it wasn't happening organically, so I pushed it to the next place, and it was not the response I thought was going to happen, and that kind of ended it. And
So in that moment, I mean,
I don't know if he knew or didn't know, but it was, for me, it was heartbreaking.
I'm sure. So you went in and he like turned his face a little, like that whole move?
No, we actually did do a quick peck, but it was like a reeling backwards.
Right.
And then a quick getaway.
Right.
It was like an awkwardly quick getaway.
Right.
And Neil and I haven't really ever discussed that since then. It's probably a conversation we should have because I think it's hilarious. It's like something I just adore.
Oh, he'd be so funny about it. I mean, he is such a sharp, witty guy.
That's not to lie.
And you were, I mean, and it was probably surprising for you too because you were very much one of the, you know, you and Nicole Eggert, you were like the hot blonde girls that almost all the boys were into. And so what was that like being? It's a very odd feeling, like having that sex status symbol in teen years. It's kind of, I have to imagine that's bizarre.
I honestly was such a tomboy that I don't think I was even aware of that.
Really? Did they protect you from creepy fan letters and stuff?
Yeah, they did. My dad did make mention of a couple prison fan things, and like at one point they thought about getting me a protection or something at one point because some guy was saying something in the letters like that he felt that I wasn't being taken care of and he was going to go do something about it.
Oh my.
The protection.
Yes.
Crazy protection letter.
Yes. So
but
you were basically protected from the creepers.
I was shielded from that kind
Good.
of. I mean, I just wasn't really. I was such a tomboy that I don't even think I was kind of. I knew Nicole.
Yeah.
And
did she take to it more than you did?
I just think she was more aware of it for herself than I was. I think even today I don't know the sexiness of me, really. I'm still unaware.
Maybe the TMZ reporters will come up and let you know, just how they feel about you. They're very opinionated.
Right.
What do you remember of like Bop Magazine and the whole machinery of being a teen star? What are your memories of that?
I did a lot of photo shoots for Bop. I mean, it was really like Alyssa Milano was the headliner.
Oh, that's true.
It was really Alyssa, and Nicole was in there. Like
it was Alyssa's world. We all just lived in it.
And they probably had publicists who were pushing that a lot more, and their families, I think, were much more in the mechanism of generating and managing careers. My parents, I have a flight attendant for a mother and an accountant for a father.
Oh, okay.
Like
very normal.
No one in my family is in the business, and no one. I was a kid, so there's no thinking of how do we strategize and market Maureen.
Did you ever have a publicist?
I did. I think at the end of the show, maybe, but really.
Right.
When it was too late.
I always wonder when.
But it also was looked down on. Like we were syndicated. We were kind of the bastard child. Like, oh, that syndicated show by the industry.
What I love is that Mike Scully did your show, and Mike Scully has gone on to do The Simpsons, Everybody Loves Raymond, and Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
But we all start somewhere.
Well, it was actually, they were well-written scripts. If you actually go back.
I watched one this morning, and they made a Doogie Howser reference. They go, what is she, Doogie Howser?
Really?
Yeah, and the one I watched this morning, which made me think to ask you, and then little did I actually know you actually did go out with Neil Patrick Harris. That was a good story.
What? I don't remember this. Wow.
Yeah, well, I know. Maureen, say that one line. Remember that one line that you said, the punchline about a Kleenex, and you're like,
I don't know it.
Still not all retained. You have really gone on to really be a successful actress in lots of different shows, from Seventh Heaven to 90210. Not the original, unfortunately.
No, the redo.
I so wish you and Shannon Doherty had bitch slapped each other for a while in the original.
God. That would have been great.
Wouldn't that be great?
I just feel like I haven't filled out the niche yet of being the bitch. I think I'm moving into that.
I've seen some edgy roles online that you've done. Let's talk about ER. I was on ER, and you were on ER.
Really?
I was on as an extra, so it's not quite as accomplished as somebody who had to audition and landed a role. But tell me about your experiences.
It's fast.
It is fast, isn't it?
They've got that thing down. I mean, it's a machine.
Speaking of ER.
Yeah, there we are. Rolling and rolling.
We're on the set of ER right now. We just brought it back. It wasn't on the air long enough in its 13 or 14 seasons. So you, they work fast. I remember that. I remember that Maura Tierney had a really bad cold.
Okay.
But she was still super cute. Didn't matter.
I think Mekhi Phifer, I worked a scene with Mekhi Phifer.
Did he hit on you? Please.
He said no, it wasn't him. It was Shakir, the other guy that was on the show. Shia
LaBeouf?
No, Shia wasn't on that show. Was he?
No.
Shakir.
Yeah. was that? But anyway, did that guy hit on you?
He didn't hit on me, but he
did.
did tell me what great calves I had.
Okay.
And I then looked down and went, yeah, I do.
I do. Thanks.
I mean,
That's
and
great.
I think I was probably training for some triathlons or something at that time, so they were just like really ripped.
Well, I want to know before we go, I want to know like the mechanics of the whole freezing the scene. How did they do that in the 80s?
I wonder if I still have it.
Like now it would be like just a button on a, on a nonlinear, editing software program. But in the 80s, it feels like that would have been more
They
complicated.
literally, our extras had to freeze.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, they did not.
Our stage manager literally would say, and freeze, when I put my fingers together.
Yeah.
And they would take his voice out, and literally they would stand there motionless while I moved around. And then,
So if you watch that, you will see like
yes,
small
watch
motion.
the extras.
So
You'll see like people's noses
I
moving or
can't
their chests
believe
breathing.
that is true.
It was. They should have paid them more because that was a grueling day.
I can't even imagine having to stand there like trying to, I always wonder how people play like, dead bodies and caskets on things and they just have to, and sometimes
not easy.
the shot lingers. Have you done it?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, I can see.
And are you trying to like breathe through your nose or something?
Everything itches right at that very moment.
Of course, everything itches. Right. Yeah.
The fly suddenly likes you, and
The
only
pressure's
you.
on. They say action. The pressure is on to lay there.
I think it's harder to like go dead, like to die.
Uh-huh.
You die, and then you got to be completely still because usually it involves some tussle or gunfire,
Right.
and you've got to calm your chest down real fast.
Right.
That's hard.
Right.
So yeah, they just froze. Like
That
I'd
is
stick my fingers
hysterical.
together, and our stage manager would say freeze, and the extras would freeze. I'd bandy about the set, and then unfreeze, and then he'd say unfreeze.
Did they put that cube in the Smithsonian, like with Archie Bunker's couch?
The producer had emailed me not long ago and said, Maureen, didn't I give you that cube as a going away thing? I was like, dude, you didn't give me shit.
What did you get out of
You
this
didn't
world?
give me shit. You gave me a lesson in business. That's what you gave me.
Right.
And he's like, oh, that's funny. I thought I gave it to you because I can't find it. They lost it. They lost the cube.
How do you lose like that pivotal plot, the face of Burt Reynolds?
They did.
Then, so what did you were you able to live off that for a long time out of this world?
I put myself through college.
Good.
I bought myself a car.
Did you go crazy in any way?
No. My
Because
father is an accountant. He's
Oh,
very.
yeah. There you
he
go.
invested very wisely on my pennies because literally, people, I was making pennies. I really was making pennies.
Was it done with a union or was it?
It was done with a union.
Okay, but it was whatever the minimum.
like I said, it was a Bastard Child. It was the first syndicated show.
Yeah.
There was no, baseline.
Yeah. You were making more than I was making at Hoffman Chiropractic.
I would
Life
made a
Center.
lot of money, for a 14-year-old, but for a star of a hit show, nah,
Not so much.
not so much. But I did very well off of that.
Good.
Put myself
Well,
through
it's nice to
USC.
hear. It's been a pleasure talking to Maureen.
You too, Dan.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a
Cheers.
let's take a picture for the thing.
Yes.
For the promotions.
Are you
Okay, we're gonna go up high because man, I'm a fatty McFatterson.
You're not.
Fatty McChubbins.
Wait.
Hang on, no, I'm gonna get. But first, let me just. Okay, it does take pictures. Good.
You can always
So vain.
take a frame from that. You don't have to do a still frame.
Oh, you're right. I could do a still from this.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll do that if I can't do two things. Okay, towards you. There we go. That's gonna be much more flattering. Staring at the fingers.
Yes.
Hi, Web World. Oh, that was great.